737-67 get you in. 888-458-6926 on the toll-free line. Let's lock in some calls today, Derek. How about that? And Kyle, yes. Carnac, man, going to reach and look inside that crystal ball or look back over the weekend. What's up, Kyle?
Hey, guys. It was just a crazy weekend in sports. I went out last night to watch UND NDSU with some Bison buddies. They were about as gracious in victory as you would imagine, but we had a good time anyway. And, Saturday was just a crazy day for a sports fan. I mean, I watched sports for 12 consecutive hours. It started with Hibbing Warrroad and ended with UND beating St. Thomas with a tenth of a second left.
Unbelievable.
So it was just a crazy weekend. But, I have to say, the best thing I saw over the weekend, or at least the thing I really stood out to me, was that semifinal game Friday night between Moorhead and Edina, and Moorhead's up 3-0 and the time's winding down, and I'm thinking, Twilight Zone's starting up on MeTV, maybe I'll flip over. But I thought, these kids are getting a little bit chippy. I'm going to stay tuned. And good thing I did, because when that Edina kid sort of started that fight, that scuffle at the end of the game. Guys, that linesman that came flying in and tackled those kids, I mean, that is just crazy. I've never seen anything like that. And that guy, obviously, keeps himself in good shape being the official out there, but, he's probably in his 40s. I mean, How do you think he was feeling the next morning after taking that tumble?
It's funny, high school, this is high school. Normally, a collegiate, anti-team. Derek and I was talking, Kyle, you probably agree with this too, but Derek, you were even alluding to it. Now the Spuds have won back-to-back. How long before, wait a minute, they've won enough, let's get somebody, that mentality is right now. It's a great honeymoon, and obviously we'll be cheering for them too. But I'll tell you, those not from Edina are cheering for Edina. There's no... That's a black and white issue right there.
Yeah, they're the New York Yankees of
right?
high school hockey, and have been
question.
Since Eichel was sitting behind us with his houndstooth hat. I mean that was, there's no doubt. I mean, that is most definitely and Minnetonka's not too far behind. I mean, so
like 1A and 1B kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of Eden Prairie football like. So
yeah. So to your point, Kyle, that's I wouldn't have the Twilight Zone would have been a good call, but I'm glad you hung up with that.
What's crazy to me too is watching Minnetonka is that my cousin played for the 1990 state championship team for the Roseau. Same makeup, just big kids that would thud you. I mean, and Dana Gunderson was the big defenseman for the Rams back then, and he was taking all the beats, and he's the one having to shut, because it was much more physical that they would allow back then, and it was weird to see kind of the big type of player again for Minnetonka. That was kind of, it's just weird how some programs are always the same. You know what I mean? Right. No matter year after year, decade
like the kids aren't the same because they got to eventually graduate, right. But the program still keeps that.
How they play,
that film stays on the program,
right?
Yeah,
how they look, how they play.
There's a lot of proud traditions around the country with state tournaments. I know, Indiana basketball, Texas football, Iowa wrestling. I think you would be hard-pressed, really, to find a better tradition for a state tournament than Minnesota high school hockey, especially with the championships we got this weekend. And 2 overtime games. Moorhead was double overtime. And that kid that scored the goal for Warrroad, just seeing his emotion and hugging his dad, the coach, and after the game, just all the pride he had talking about his small town and how, he mentioned all the teams that fell short before him. I mean,
Mooney Shoggaby, I believe, is who you're thinking of there. Yeah, Mooney.
Correct. Yeah.
What's crazy about that, too, is I did not realize that it had been since 2005 since they won the title. And I know Hermantown has had kind of the run here for a while, but that stunned me. It's been 21 years.
Yeah, and I felt bad for the Hibbing kids, too, having lost 2 years in a row now, in the state tournament. And I think it's been like a 20-year drought, maybe 30-year drought for them winning state, too. So yeah.
No, you think about it, too, all these traditions and what have you, and names that are synonymous with the tournament, because to your point, I mean, you played in front of some big crowds when you're playing basketball and stuff like that. But 20,000 people.
Yeah, 20,000 is a broadcast with that, but not played. I can't even imagine that feel. This is, you said it, Derek.
For 16-year-old kids are on the ice.
16-year-old kids. I mean, my daycare was pretty good when I was 5. There's like 20. I mean, that's incredible. They're playing in front of, and for some of those boys, that's as big as that is good. That's their NHL. Like when Chris Coast talks about when Chris made the Red Hawks team, you know, right. Little did he know that he was going to be in a World Series with the Philadelphia Phillies and be a catcher and all that. But Chris always talks about when I made the Red Hawks, our local pro team, that was my big time, playing in front of 3,000 people in the Northern League. You know, that was his World Series. Yeah, these guys, 19 and change playing there. I should have asked the question today, Kyle, and the sports is great. The greatest thing is blank, something like that, because, Derek, you and I were talking about this morning. You know what I love best about these things is the bus ride of the guys coming back into your local town.
Yep.
And then going to the gym for a pep assembly to root on the state champions. I don't know why. I mean, I know why. It just gets me right in my. Just gets me. The Warrroad bus going to Warrroad, and people are lining the streets, and it's not like it's summer. It's not like it's May Day in Williston, you know, in the street parade, you know, and the bands come. A little chilly on the side. Oh God, that I love that. I get Moorhead's a bigger city, but it's still that bus ride going through and people cheering on the side of the road. That I don't know. That gets me every time.
Yeah, it's the best and worst part of sports are the same thing. It just depends whether you win or lose. But that emotion is the best and the worst thing about sports.
Well, to that point, Friday night I'm in Jamestown. It's the semifinal of the girls A, and it's, you know, someone had to lose. Someone had to win, and the
I felt bad for those Max girls. I felt bad for them.
Oh, and just a lockdown, a great team. I mean, clearly a 1-seed team that lost the day before. Thompson girls, you know, they're not built a lot of height, but man, they're feisty girls, and you know they lose a heartbreaker. So for the seniors, there is no state title for you. And I'm in the back of the tunnel, and I won't name the name, but I'm in the young girls there, and I'm going out to broadcast the next semifinal. And the tears are just, you can't control it. And her tears are screaming. A little, you know, eyeline stuff is dripping black down the cheeks. You could just see the emotion of this senior. Give her a hug. I said, hey, you got one more tomorrow. Just one blah, blah, blah. And I run back. Oh, what does she do the next day in the third place game? Scores like 20-some points, named the senior athlete of the year. And I'm like, see what a difference a day makes? But that's the emotion of high school athletics. You know, it's just, makes you grow up pretty quick.
Yeah, no question. And I will say I had a heart. I mean, I did feel bad for the Minnetonka kids. I mean, imagine being up 4-1 in the third period and you think that you're going to have it. I mean, it's kind of the way I felt with the Spuds when they were blowing that lead last year. Finally held on for what was a 6-5 victory, I think. But
when we asked John the anatomy of a comeback in hockey, I thought he was great when he broke that down. Yeah. And I like, for those that follow hockey, you caught this, Kyle, I'm sure, with John, Derek, that everybody's done this. If you haven't played it or watched them ever, going, well, why don't they just pull the goalie and start 6-on-5 all the time? And John said about the percentages, the analytics of that particular man advantage by pulling your goalie. It doesn't exactly result in high percentage, but anyway.
Helps when you have a young man like Zimmerman on the team, though. That's sniping that one.
That's pretty good.
Wow.
All right, Kyle. Well, we do it again this week. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks
guys.
for the call. Twins are down 6-0 to Atlanta, but it doesn't count in spring training.
Yeah.
Well,
looking at these scores, this 15-0 against the Yankees.